She signed the papers as if she were finishing a routine errand. No sighs, no trembling hands, no last attempts to be heard. The pen moved steadily across the page. Her signature neat and familiar, the same one she had used years earlier when she married. Pavel in a small civil office with chipped walls and plastic flowers on the windowsill. Pavel watched her closely, unsettled by the absence of emotion. He had prepared himself for tears, for accusations, even for scenes that would justify his decision. Instead, Elena sat quietly, her back straight, her expression composed in a way that felt almost formal. "That's it?" he finally asked, unable to tolerate the silence. "You don't want to say anything?" Elena closed the folder and slid it back toward him. "I've said everything already, just not today." He leaned back, crossing his arms. "You always did that, holding things in, pretending to be above it all." She looked at him then, really looked, at the familiar lines of his face, the impatience that had hardened into something sharper over the years. She felt no anger, only a distant recognition, like seeing someone from a past life. "I wasn't pretending," she said calmly. "I was hoping." Pavel scoffed. "Hoping doesn't pay bills, or win arguments." "No," she agreed. "It just shows you what matters." He shook his head, irritation rising. "You're walking away with nothing, you know that, right? No house, no savings, no career. You gave all of that up for this marriage." Elena stood, smoothing the sleeves of her simple coat. "I didn't give them up. I put them aside." "That's the same thing." She smiled faintly. "Only if you think what you see is all there is." Her calm unnerved him. He stood as well, trying to reclaim control of the moment. "Don't expect me to rescue you later." "I won't." "I know," she replied softly. "That's why I'm leaving." She walked past him, her steps quiet on the polished floor. At the door, she paused for just a second, not to look back, but to breathe. Then she was gone. Pavel remained in the room, staring at the closed door. A strange sensation settled in his chest, something between relief and unease. He told himself he had done the right thing. He had married a woman who brought no advantage, no ambition, no leverage. Now he was free, and yet the silence she left behind felt heavier than any argument. The courthouse steps were crowded, noisy, alive with small dramas unfolding all at once. Elena stepped outside and felt the cool air brush her face like a benediction. She descended slowly, her heels clicking softly against the stone. Each step felt lighter than the last, as if something invisible had been unfastened inside her. She reached the bottom step and stopped. At first she thought the sound was thunder, a low, rolling resonance that didn't belong to the city. Conversations nearby faltered, then stilled altogether. People turned, drawn by instinct rather than curiosity. At the curb stood a carriage that looked as though it had rolled out of another century. It was not gaudy, but unmistakably magnificent. Golden panels etched with intricate designs, polished to a soft glow rather than a harsh shine. The crest on the door was subtle, elegant, and ancient. 4 white horses stood in perfect alignment, their harnesses immaculate, their presence commanding silence without effort. Guards in formal livery stood at attention, faces impassive. Elena did not gasp. She did not hesitate. She simply exhaled. One of the guards stepped forward and bowed deeply. "Your Grace," he said, his voice respectful and steady. "We are honored to escort you." A ripple of whispers passed through the onlookers. "Did he say? That crest, could it be?" "I thought that house was gone." Elena inclined her head slightly. "Thank you. I appreciate your patience." From behind her, Pavel emerged from the courthouse, still adjusting his jacket, still mentally rehearsing the version of the story he would tell others. He stopped abruptly when he saw the crowd, the horses, the impossible carriage. "What's going on?" he muttered. Then he saw her. Elena stood poised at the foot of the carriage, speaking quietly to the guard. Her posture had changed, not in a dramatic way, but unmistakably. The woman who had stood silently in the courtroom now carried herself with an ease that could not be learned. It was not confidence borrowed from circumstance, but something intrinsic, long held. Pavel pushed forward. "Elena!" She turned at the sound of his voice. For a moment the noise of the square seemed to fade, leaving only the space between them. "What is this?" he demanded, gesturing at the carriage. "What kind of game are you playing?" "No game," she said gently. His eyes flicked to the crest again. "That symbol, it belongs to the Great Duke," she finished quietly. He stared at her, disbelief crashing into dawning realization. You're telling me you're nobility? She smiled, not with pride, but with acceptance. By birth, yes. Then why did you live like that? His voice cracked despite himself. Why didn't you tell me? Elena regarded him steadily. Because I wanted to be loved without conditions. I wanted to know who would choose me without titles, without protection, without...